We begin at 5:30 with the Christopher Schurr mistrial. After a nearly 2-week-long trial, a Kent County jury could not reach a verdict.
The judge declared a mistrial this morning in the case of the former police officer charged with second-degree murder. And this afternoon, supporters of Patrick Lyoya's family gathered outside the courthouse for a demonstration.
13 on your sides, Micah Cho starts our team coverage live from downtown Grand Rapids. What do you see, Micah?
Yeah, right now we're taking a moment of silence while the Black National Anthem plays in respect for Patrick Lyoya and his family. I would say there's probably maybe 20 to 25 more people that have joined this rally/protest than what we saw down over at the 5 o'clock hour. Again, we're talking a little softer because everybody's taking, again, a moment of silence. We've been hearing that a lot, justice for Patrick. We actually even see that on the sidewalk over here too. A lot of sidewalk out there. Justice for Patrick, no justice, no peace. These are things that have been chanted since the 5 o'clock hour again earlier today. This is some of the busiest that we've seen the outside of the Kent County Courthouse all day. Earlier in the morning, we did not see a whole lot. There were not a lot of Patrick Lyoya supporters out here. They were all kind of in the front, maybe all 5 or 6. Earlier in the morning, we were waiting for, we're going to step a little bit back farther, but we were waiting for Christopher Schurr to leave the courthouse. Instead, we did see the jury, what we presume was the jury, leaving earlier today. Again, it was so quiet today, and there are so many people out here right now. It's full of emotion. We actually did talk to a protester earlier today /Lyoya family supporter, D.D. Greer. Here's what he had to say about why he wanted to join the protest this afternoon.
We plan on rallying today in support of the Lyoya family and still in pursuit of justice for Patrick. A mistrial does not mean that we're done. We're still out here calling for police reform. It's been 3 years of this, so nothing's really new for us.
Yeah, again, this protest has started at 5 o'clock, and it's just been adding ever since this all started. I would say there's now maybe 5, 6 dozen people here, and it just does continue to grow, and we're going to make sure to stay out here up until the 6:30 hour. So for now, live in Grand Rapids, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
Testimony in the Christopher Schurr trial started on April 28th. It went to the jury on Monday. 13 on your side's Callie Lichter was at the courthouse every day. She joins us now live with the prosecutor's reaction to the mistrial. Callie.
Juliet, the trial may be over, but the prosecution has left the door open for another round in the courtroom. For Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker, a mistrial was not the outcome the prosecution or Patrick Lyoya's family hoped for.
What happened today is not what anybody was expecting or wanted. We're hoping for a verdict, and I think the family, I don't know if they've talked here, but they're extremely disappointed, as am I.
After 4 days of deliberation, the jury in the trial of former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schurr told Judge Christina Mims they were deadlocked for the second time, with Judge Mims calling a mistrial. Becker knew this was a likely outcome.
But especially if you look across the country, there's a number of police-involved incidents where it ends up in a hung jury quite a bit. So we always knew there was a possibility. It's a difficult case.
And says this outcome was not the jury's fault.
I've never had a jury take that many notes and ask the amount of questions, and quite frankly, very good questions. So they were clearly engaged, clearly dedicated, and I appreciate their work they did.
This case now has 3 potential futures, all in the hands of Becker. He could retry the case, offer a plea deal, or dismiss the case. That decision will not come Thursday.
I'm not going to let this drag out. I mean, I'm going to be considerate of the community. I mean, this is a big decision, but I'm not going to rush through it. But I'm not going to sit here and it's not going to be June.
Becker also says he did not bring these charges out of public pressure, and he still has a good relationship with the Grand Rapids Police Department.
If I didn't believe in the case, I should have been trying it. It's a difficult case. This is not an easy case.
Becker says he will be taking into consideration the Lyoya family's feelings and jury feedback when deciding the future of this case. We will be getting an update on the case in the coming weeks, and we'll be watching closely for when that decision is made. Live at the Kent County Courthouse, I'm Callie Lichter, 13 on your side.
All right, Kelly, thank you. After the mistrial was declared, attorneys on both sides had a chance to talk to the jury. The defense claims most of the jurors favored an acquittal. 13 on your side's Josh Albertus is live downtown as well with more reaction from Christopher Schurr's attorney. Josh.
Yeah, Elena, the defense really at this point will just have to wait to see what Prosecutor Becker decides on what the path forward will be, if there will be any retrial or whatever path forward there will be. But the defense attorney saying today, asserting this case is not winners or losers.
My sense is that they worked very hard to come to a conclusion, and sometimes you just can't.
A hung jury in the trial of former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schurr, who had been accused of murder in the death of Patrick Lyoya.
He's been living with this for 3 years. He obviously wanted some resolution.
Now, the decision on whether or not to seek a retrial lies in the hands of the county prosecutor, who said Thursday he had not yet made a decision. But for Schurr's lead defense attorney, he felt there should be no retrial, and that what he believed the jury signaled should be taken into consideration.
What better litmus test for whether or not something should be charged if whether or not he can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
As to where the jury may have indicated it was leaning, both on the charge of second-degree murder and the lesser included charge of voluntary manslaughter, Borgula describing what he felt was a signal.
It was communicated that it was there was always a majority for acquittal on both. I was asking for the judge to ask the jury whether they could, if they had reached unanimity as to count one, which was murder in the second degree, and she declined. She's not required to do that under the rules.
While the prosecution looks to a decision, Schurr, Borgula said, will likely be waiting and considering what the future will look like now.
I think he's probably going to continue with the status quo, and see how things unfold.
But following the jury's announcement, Borgula clarifying, in this case, it's not winners or losers.
We cannot declare victory because there really is no winning here. A man died, and that is a very serious thing. Christopher Schurr is happy that the jury didn't determine that he's criminally responsible for that death. But it's hard to say that we feel like this was a victory.
And as we've said, that decision on where this goes from here is with Prosecutor Becker. We could be expecting that decision. He said, as you heard, will not be a decision yet, but as that decision comes and as developments play out, we will keep you updated. But for now, outside the courthouse, Josh Albertus, 13 on your side.
The outcome of the trial is not what the family of Patrick Lyoya hoped for, but they say their fight is not over. 13 on your side's Lauren Baker joins us now with reaction from them.
Julia, after the decision was made in court today, through an interpreter, the family said they would not give up until justice was given to their son. After years of hopes and prayers,
to see that all these 3 years where we have been waiting for this case to be settled.
The family of Patrick Lyoya says a mistrial in the Christopher Schurr case has reopened past wounds.
I want to say that it hurts my family, my wife. We are bleeding. We are in pain.
Through an interpreter, the family spoke moments after the judge declared the mistrial in a press conference. Not only wanting justice, Lyoya's mom says her family was hoping Schurr would apologize for what happened when he took the stand.
I thought he would say, coming from his mouth, was going to say, I'm sorry to the family, to apologize for what he did wrong, but he didn't. And it seemed like the way that he portrayed himself, it was like he had no remorse. He had no guilt. He didn't care.
But with the potential of another trial, Lyoya's parents say this outcome won't stop them from fighting for justice for their son.
We are not going to be tired. I didn't give up on my son. And we are not going to be tired until when we find the justice for our son.
We were not able to speak to Schurr's family. They left the courtroom very quickly after the trial was ruled a mistrial, but we have reached out to the family to see if they would comment on this outcome. The Lyoya family still has a civil lawsuit against Schurr. Their attorney, Ben Johnson, says he expects movement on their case to begin soon. In the newsroom, Lauren Baker, 13 on your side.
Lauren, thank you. And with the jury unable to reach a verdict, many questions remain about what happens next.
13 on your side's Riley Mack joins us now live with reaction from inside the courtroom after that mistrial was declared, as well as insight on where things go from here. Riley.
Juliet and Elena, you could feel the tension inside that courtroom this morning as Judge Christina Mims said that the jury reached an impasse, a roadblock that they could not overcome. Family members on both sides visibly reacted, quietly resigned as the judge declared that this would be a mistrial. I spoke with an expert who explained where the case goes from here.
Hi, I'm Andrew Rodenhouse. I am a trial attorney here in Kent County, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Explain the verdict today.
Well, it was a hung verdict. My understanding is that it was substantially in favor of the defense. They did as best they could to come to a verdict, and they just couldn't reach it.
Explain to me what a hung jury means.
In order to have a jury come back with a verdict, all 12 jurors have to be in agreement on what that verdict is. And if they're not all in agreement, and even if just one person isn't in agreement with it, then the judge declares a mistrial and it's considered a hung jury.
So what could happen from here?
The investigators, and they'll review whether or not they want to try the case again, what their odds are of success, or whether or not they want to dismiss the case. It's possible they could reach a plea agreement of some sort.
At this point, is Christopher Schurr innocent or guilty?
He's innocent. He's innocent until some finder of fact, a jury or a judge, declares him guilty.
How do you think this verdict, this, kind of no verdict at all, how do you think that affects the community?
When you have all this buildup and then all of a sudden nothing happens, and I think everyone's just kind of deflated by it.
Do you think this will impact the community's perception of our justice system here?
I think they should have a positive takeaway from it. This is how our system is designed to work. And so even if there is just one holdout, well, that's the system. And that's the system our forefathers gave to us. And we're blessed to have gotten it from them. So I'm happy when it works like this. It's just the way it works.
And inside the courtroom this morning, a supporter of the Lioya family said that, bias is the reason for that jury deadlock, prompting deputies to escort him out of the courtroom. Looking at the jury demographics, most of the members were white, while 3 of them also said that they had connections to law enforcement, whether it be through their family or through work. We asked the defense and the prosecution if this was a factor in the jury deadlock, and both of them said, no, I don't believe so. They believe that they had the most fair jury that they could have in this situation. Live in front of the Kent County Courthouse, I'm Riley Mack for 13 on Your Side.
And we will have continuing coverage of today's decision through 6:30, also online at 13onyourside.com.
You can also rewatch the entire trial on 13 Plus. That's our streaming app. Download on your TV and watch for free.